So we found out this week that Amazon is losing hundreds of thousands of employees within days or weeks of hiring them. These people are hired on and then don't or can't do the actual work. It's set up to be too much. That seems like it'd be a major problem for a corporation like this, but they apparently don't consider it to be. In fact, they've sort of set up the system with the goal of having massive turnover. So much turnover that now they're a little bit worried in some areas of the country that they're gonna run out of people who haven't worked at Amazon. They're literally going to churn through the entire, like Elaine Bennis in New York City. They're gonna have to go around to the start of the list again, I guess. So that's a real concern. Now, how do you get to that? Well, we have some information thanks to David Nykirk, a former Amazon vice president. He said, and by the way, he's the guy who built their warehouse human resources operations. He says some of the problems stemmed from ideas the company had developed back when it was a much smaller company. Mr. Bezos, the head of it, and one of the richest people in the entire world, didn't want an entrenched workforce, calling it a march to mediocrity, and saw low-skilled jobs as relatively short term. So what do you mean you don't want an entrenched workforce? Well, there were a couple of reasons given for that. One, they know that if they keep workers on for a while, the workers might expect at some point to move up in the workforce. They might want to get some higher job, a management job. They weren't interested in that. They didn't want to promote people from within, so they ground people down to get rid of them. They also would talk about how they need to keep their employees fresh. Fresh is the word that they would use. Now, I don't know what freshness really means for an employee, but in theory, there are two ways that you could keep your employees fresh. One, you could not grind them into a gray paste. You could do that. You could give them some time off, make them feel appreciated, all of that. That's how I stay fresh all the time. Or you could get rid of them and get new ones. Get literal fresh people who hadn't worked there. And that is clearly the approach that they kept. And why not? Like, if you don't ever want a union, if you don't ever want your workers to be able to come together and push for better conditions, don't have them be established employees. Have them come and go. Have it be a very sort of fluid thing where you never have people who become invested in the position and want to make it better. And that's the situation that they appear to have made, Viviana.
I mean, it's what Marx talks about, the tenets of building wealth. I mean, you need to make sure that you can crank through the workforce, and they're disposable. They're disposable. Not only, like you mentioned, what we already know about the crazy demands of their time, but if you allow them to just get burned out rather quickly, then you get a new crop in. But you are going to run out. I mean, it's not surprising to me considering how much this company has grown in the last decade alone. They have to be doing things like this, tricks. They don't care at all about their employees. They never have. And unfortunately so, because it's such an amazing business idea as well. Like, everybody loves Amazon. It's really a convenient thing, especially during the pandemic. It really makes it easy. And instead of using that for good, Peter Parker, you're using it for evil. I mean, you make the choice here. You go, okay, I have this power, I have this ability. Once he got out of that one-room office with Amazon posted on the wall, once he got out of there, he had an ability to say, let me take care of Americans. Let me help make this company amazing. But he's just looking for himself. I mean, we know something's going wrong. Guy's sending himself to space. What's gonna happen to this planet? Is he looking for a new workforce? What's going on?
How badly do you want to get away from your workers that you're willing to go to space? Jeff Bezos, according to Viviana, your friendly neighborhood taskmaster. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.